We are working on going live.
Do I call the meeting to order when we go on?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And then you'll do a roll call.
Yeah.
Okay. We're live.
Okay. Hi, welcome everyone. I'm going to call the meeting to order. It's January 18, 2022, 6:04 p.m. This is the ad hoc executive search committee meeting. Myself, Jare Gauze, I'm going to fill in as the chair. Bridget Pryor is excused, who is the chair of the ad hoc committee. We also have present another board member, Ms. Donna Dixon, ad hoc committee member. We have Melanie Metzger, interim executive director, Rebecca Delgado, admin assistant, and we also have Mr. John Keister from John Keister and Associates LLC. Congratulations again on winning the contract. So we'll go ahead and get started. Was Bob going to be joining us tonight? No,
he was not. Yeah.
Okay, no problem, no problem. So the purpose for calling this meeting to orders, we're going to touch base with John and plan our next steps. And Melanie, do you want to go ahead and do we have any public comment?
There you go.
Rebecca, we'll give that to her.
I'm sorry. Do we
That's
have
okay.
We have not received any public comment. If anybody from the public wishes to make a comment, there are two ways. You can send an email to publiccomment@albanypubliclibrary.org or leave a voicemail at 518-290-6905. Please leave your name and address, and public comments will be read during designated times. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're going to go ahead and move forward with unfinished business. And speaking and presenting this to the full board, I think we just had to get a clarity on a couple of items. First thing was there was still, we definitely trust your process, John, and we definitely appreciate that you do have a different process. And we're just wanting to know if you could explain just a little bit more about getting those potential candidates. So we know it's a small pool and it's a predominantly, white pool of candidates that we are going to have. If you could talk a little bit more about how you're going to reach some of those candidates who have a more diverse background,
Sure.
Or maybe who are not already in your roster or not already on your radar for contacts that you already have.
Okay, great. Would you like me just to kind of do a brief overview of the process for someone?
Great.
Okay, great.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just a kind of a condensed version of the search process. You can think of it as a dual path, dual roads, if you will. One's passive, one's active. The passive one is if I had to use traditional, is a little bit more traditional, but that's the one where instead of using a common job ad for the executive director search, we want to make the library in Albany stand out and be different and of interest to people. So as a marketing awareness tool, we will be designing, coding, and hosting a fairly comprehensive web page or website, if you will, that has information about the library, the community, and the opportunity. We use the website again as a tool for marketing awareness that will go out on social media such as Twitter, but we also place it on traditional job ad sites like ALA, library associations and things like that, but not as a job ad. What we want to do is to encourage people to click into the website and be exposed and learn as much as they can about the opportunity. So to do that, I do what I call a teaser ad, but it's a very brief, maybe 2 or 3, 4 sentences that take the place of the job posting, but it encourages you to click into the link, which is pretty prominent in the posting. I also code analytics into the site, so I know how that's being used and if that's effective, and where people are clicking in from geographically and things like that. But it's a good tool for marketing awareness. The other path is more the active path, which is the part, quite frankly, I enjoy greatly, and that is where we're actually identifying, networking, contacting people that of interest to us that we feel would be a good asset or qualified for the library opportunity. So we essentially it's cold calling, if you will, and we reach out directly to those people. We tend to find that that's a very good path. It's not common in search in libraries, but it's common with us because we're really trying to attract the candidates who aren't aware that they need to learn about the Albany Public Library. So we try to reach out to people who are perfectly happy in their role and tell them the Albany story and learn more about them and kind of see where that goes. In other words, what we're looking for are candidates who are running to Albany and not running away, perhaps from a bad situation. So we got those two paths going. In terms of diversity, that's kind of the unfortunate story in the library world right now, and I think everyone's working to make it better. It's considered to be one of the whitest professions in the country, which might surprise some people. And I believe the last number I saw from ALA is that, if I'm correct, I may be a little off, that only 4% of the library positions in the United States are held by non-white librarians, and that's not just executive directors. That's everyone.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Yeah. So what I have been encouraging boards to do are a couple things. One, make sure that the executive director that you do hire, if it is not a diversity person, that they are fully on board and aware of the importance of equity and diversity issues. That's going to be key. The other thing that I challenge boards to do, and I feel they need to do this, is we need to start growing and diversifying the profession, and that's going to be from the bottom up. What I see happening now is we have perhaps promising young people that start working at the library, maybe as a page or some other low-level role, and they're very talented and they aspire to get into the leadership ranks, but that requires that they get a master's degree in library science. Well, libraries really don't pay that well, particularly at lower levels, and so those people drop out. They have to leave the field. So I would like to have library boards everywhere be aware of this and perhaps put in place programs, whether it's tuition reimbursement, all kinds of things like that, to encourage promising young people to stick with the profession. And essentially, we will reach the point at some point where we have a larger pool and a more diverse pool of people for executive director.
Absolutely, absolutely. We definitely want someone who is going to promote that diversity in the library system overall. I think the only other item we had in reference to unfinished business was transparency is definitely important. And I think across the full board, we definitely want to keep the process as open as possible. And there was a consensus that we wanted to have access to all applications submitted. We trust your judgment in reference to who you're going to submit as qualified candidates to the ad hoc committee and subsequently to the full board. But we just also would like to include to have, access to all the applications that were submitted, just to, ensure that overall scheme of transparency is there.
Good. Just to qualify that a little bit, because typically what we'll have, we will have people on the passive path that will apply, but don't even meet the minimal qualifications to be the role. And I'll give you an example. I recently did a search. I had a Pizza Hut delivery driver, and I actually had a CIA analyst apply for executive director position. I don't know if that's something you necessarily want to see, but
so I think what the consensus was with the board is we understand you have your own filter process. We trust your filter process just to have access to, I'm not sure if you have maybe a platform that we could, if at any point somebody could log into, or just maybe CCS on applications.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, I don't think we're not
what I can do, I can actually forward all the information on everybody. I just want to make it clear it's not necessarily people I'm recommending.
Absolutely. We understand that. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, I can do that.
And we definitely are going to trust your recommendations. That's not a concern of ours at all. It's just the transparency piece that we want to make sure we keep.
How often would you like that, as it happens, or maybe perhaps once every couple of weeks, or?
I think we can. What do you think, Donna?
Yeah, I would be in favor of receiving that on a regular periodic basis, maybe as you suggested, John, once every couple of weeks.
Sure.
Yeah.
One of the things that we want to establish in this meeting is some timeframes and deadlines and deliverables for what the next steps are.
Right.
And I believe that our council reached out to you to get a copy of your standard agreement.
Yeah.
So that's one step, and that we'd like to have, if the process of what's shared and what's not shared in terms of applications is in that agreement, and I don't remember if it is, if you could revise the agreement accordingly.
Yes.
To say, yes, the board will have access to all of the applications on a periodic basis. So that was one thing. And then the other was to just establish in this meeting what the next steps are in terms of what you
Sure.
need from us for information, access to board members, access to staff, timeframes, at least the initial steps going forward.
Yeah, I had
So
a
what-
really, really nice and very helpful conversation with Mr. Schofield today. A little bit of library history, and very much enjoyed speaking with him today. So,
Yeah, it's great.
So John, I don't want to cut you guys off, but do I need to close off unfinished business? Because then we'll be moving on to new business, wouldn't it be? We're going to get into the next steps, right?
You're kind of doing it all in one because there was.
Okay, no problem. I just didn't know if I had to like officially close it out. Okay.
It's a little bit more casual now.
Okay. All right.
Thanks for keeping us on track, Jare.
every
I'm
board
fine.
needs someone like that.
I'm trying. Okay. So yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and then just roll that over, segue that into, the next steps here. And we know that you want to meet with all of us individually. So is it possible? Yeah, is it, like you said, we respect your process. We have no problem with that. Is it possible you can just shoot over your availability for us? That way everyone can, try and organize some time to be able to meet with you?
Yeah, you're ahead of me here. That was going to be my next thing I was going to talk about.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to send an email. And it'll say in the email, I'm happy to, if people wanted to Zoom, if they wanted to have a phone call, or the option, I'll probably have some suggested topics in the email. If they just wanted to email, that's fine too. Everybody has a different comfort level and availability. My question, which kind of relates to that, who will be my primary contact?
That would be Brigitte, right?
Okay.
She's the chair. Brigitte Pryor, she's the chair.
Okay.
Yeah, you met her.
I have her email, of course. And probably what I'll do, if it's okay, just to be more efficient, when I send out that email, I'll just send it to the whole board. Is that okay? Okay, good. Because I have all your email addresses. They were on the website. So
Yeah.
okay, good. So that'll be one step. So I want to be setting up those conversations. That's one path for learning, and I learned a lot that way. And it's very important because actually all really good candidates are extremely interested in the board. It's the biggest area of concern that candidates have, is the library board. I also wanted to learn as much as I can about the internal culture and operations things of the library. Obviously, in non-pandemic days, we'd be meeting in person. I can't do that. So what I'd like to do, and this is where I'm going to defer to Melanie and Rebecca, and we can, do this outside of this meeting. There's different ways to do that. If you think it maybe if I Zoom with the management team or, branch managers or different groups or even individually and things, obviously I can't talk to everybody on your staff, but I'm going to kind of leave it to you as to the what you feel, given your staff and what you know, the best way for me to learn those. I'm trying to learn, again, culture, operations, but I'm also very, very interested from trustees and from the staff learning about challenges that the next director is going to face walking in the door. We don't want to blindside with someone, but at the same time, I know from all my years of experience that good leaders, and I'm going to stress leaders here, they want something to do. If there was nothing to do at the Albany Public Library, it's really hard to recruit a good person away from someplace else because
That's not the case.
yeah, they want to make an impact, they want to make a difference. So I'll be real interested in those. So
We got a lot going on.
yeah,
So,
it's music to my ears. I love it.
so just on that level, Rebecca, you mentioned, you know, for that case, definitely loop her and I in. I would coordinate with you. I'd probably have a conversation with you exactly what you're looking for, because then I can help pull together
Good.
types of teams.
Perfect.
Because we do like to make sure individuals from all levels of the organization are included in these conversations, because as you're well aware, you know, somebody from administration or even, you know, mid-management will have a completely different idea than somebody
Absolutely.
who's a clerk or, you know, frontline
Yeah.
in the organization. So if I can just, like, if you can just shoot me over an email,
I will do that.
some of the information that, you know, the specific topics you're looking for or would like insight on, then I can pull together maybe 2 to 3 teams of
Perfect.
individuals.
Sounds good. I'll send that out to you right away. So I'll have that. Okay. So that would be the next step. So that's kind of the learning process. Also, in terms, you know, I mentioned we do this website and we'll be gathering a lot of information. Rebecca, would you be our contact for that? Like, let's say we're looking for, I don't know, some nice photos of programming or libraries or something like that. Would you be our contact for that?
Definitely,
Okay.
yeah, and if I don't have it, I know who will, so yes. that's
Okay,
fine.
perfect. Okay, we'll do that. So next steps and what to expect and what happens next are these series of meetings that I'll have with trustees and staff. Hopefully that can happen over the next, I don't know, maybe by the end of next week, ideally, would be fine. At the same time, we've actually already started working on the webpage, so that's underway. That I wouldn't hold me to it, but I'm doing a best guess here on that. That would probably be completed ideally by the end of next week also. I'm gauging that a little bit. And then we're off and running. So what we'll do then, and the next step after that, when we have this web page done, and by the way, I should preface that I didn't explain this. The result of all our conversations is us developing a profile or sort of the ideal person that we're looking for the role. Okay, because like I mentioned earlier, we are not ad places where we're going to place an ad and rake in resumes and say, oh, well, this person looks good, talk to them. I don't do that. That's not me. So we'll put together this, we'll have that information on that webpage. Before we publicize this webpage, I'm going to send it to you. And I want you to look it over and see if we captured kind of the feel of not just the library, but the community and what we're looking for. And then once, you know, and we welcome revisions, it's not a problem. What we do once that's been reviewed and we're okay, then we're off and running. That's that passive path that I was talking about.
Mhm.
And then we'll be doing that active path with I call it headhunting. Some people don't like that word, but that's what I am. But we'll be doing that path as well. That process is really tough to nail down in terms of dates. You can't do it because you're dealing with people. You just don't know. I can tell you typically what it takes and what, if I had to make a guess, once we're doing that, I probably won't necessarily have that much need to meet with you because I'm off working, you know, doing my thing. But at some point we'll want to come back and discuss candidates that we're recommending that you talk to. That would probably happen March. I'm gonna say maybe mid-March, early March, something like that, in that kind of time frame. Then possibly, you know, we'd have interviews and things like that starting maybe end of March, beginning of April. But that would be kind of a rough timeline. Sometimes it's quicker, sometimes a little longer, but I'll always keep you abreast. And if Bridget's my contact, she's the one I'll be updating and things. So unless I'm going to back up on that. She's my primary contact, but you're serving as the search committee. So I should probably copy everything on the whole committee. Good.
Yes.
All right. That helps. All right, good.
Yeah. And especially, you know, with the world being what it is right now, if, you know, Brigitte was not able to respond to something immediately,
Right.
we've already got it. She doesn't need to worry about.
Well, that's why you
forwarding.
all get the same information at the same time too, which is really helpful. Something I'll need, which we do not have to answer today by any means, kind of some housekeeping things. One will be obviously if you have a target compensation range for the opportunity. The second one would be, and again, I can email you with this too. If I could get a summary of benefits for the executive director, I don't need that right away. That's not urgent. That'll be helpful. And also, I did want to ask, there is a possibility, obviously, that whoever the final candidate is, may be relocating to Albany. Will the library, does it offer any relocation assistance at all for that person? Libraries typically do, but I just wanted to toss that out. And that's actually, I think, it.
Okay.
John,
Okay,
I
yeah,
did
we
have a quick, go ahead, Donna.
Oh, I just said Jerry and I talked, and we did, obviously anticipate needing the, some of the housekeeping things around hiring range and benefits, et cetera. So we'll get right on that.
Okay, great.
Is there a number that you suggest just in your, with your knowledge, just off the cuff in reference to salary?
Well, you're going to get the answer that I give every library board, and it's true. First of all, I'm not that big on salary ranges. I know it's important, but salary is important because actually a lot of places like ALA, where I want to place the website, require it. The reason I every board wants to do it a little differently. I'm not that big on a formalized, officially voted on salary range because it really locks you in. And somebody might have, I'm making this up. Let's say the range is, I don't know, 110 to 120, and someone's like at 122 or something, and they didn't bother to apply because they were over the range. And then later on, you hire someone that's over the range. You can kind of get in a little bit of trouble for that because someone could come back and say, well, I would have applied, but this. So I'm a big person on minimums. Minimum salary or higher is what I like because it doesn't lock you in. The other thing I will tell you, and you'll probably hear this multiple times from me through the whole process, market dictates the salary. It's like selling a house, or buying a house. I may want to buy this house for $100,000, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen. It's the market that dictates. That said, it's really helpful in this. I have not looked for. I don't know if you have this. I like. I didn't look in New York on this yet. Most state library commissions and sites have a report of what executive directors are making in all the libraries in their state. I don't know if you have that now that I think about it. That's nice from a survey standpoint, but I think a good starting point would be what was Scott's salary and kind of adjust it from there a little bit, up or down.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay.
But it is market. It is what the market's going to dictate. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Donna, how we're doing with what we have? I think I'm pretty much set on my end. What about you?
Yes, as well. Yep.
Okay.
I think everything we needed to cover, at least in this initial meeting, and I'm glad that Bob was in touch with you, John. That's very helpful.
Yeah, he was, he has a lot of history with the library, and
He does.
he and I, but just so you know, he and I are going to be talking again.
Yeah.
And just again, a housekeeping things. I did explain to him, we don't have a standard agreement. The proposal serves as the agreement. He was fine with that, but he said, basically he, how would I put this? He does need to contribute something, so he's going to contribute some additional language. Okay, that I'll put there. You know where I'm coming from on that. Yeah.
Sounds like
No,
Bob.
but he was really, really. I really enjoyed speaking with him. So.
Okay, great. So I think we have a little bit of homework to do. Our committee here, some things to take back. It was definitely wonderful speaking with you as always, John.
Well, thank you. It's a great opportunity. And I was telling Rebecca and Melanie, I just got an email about an hour ago from our friends in Albany. They saw the press release in the Times or whatever.
The Times Union,
yep.
Wow, okay. So great.
Famous.
Infamous, maybe. I don't know. Well, great. Is there anything else you need from me?
At this point, Right? I think
Okay.
we're
I think I'm
good.
good.
Okay, so
Good.
I'll take a motion to adjourn the meeting for this evening.
I move to adjourn.
All right. Aye.
Great. Well, thank you everyone very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a
Bye.
good evening, everyone. I'll talk with you soon, Donna.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye.